Hi, Leo. Welcome to your reading for December 2025. Um, I'm a little late. I'm sorry. I tried so hard to get the readings out on time. And somehow I went from Cancer to Virgo. And, I never think that's a mistake, like, oh, I forgot Leo. No, I feel like now you begin the month. And we're doing the month of December. So I feel like this is your divine timing. I just feel it. I feel it in my spiritual bones, um, which tells me this is going to be a divine reading. So, who's this for? Really, anyone who finds themselves here, who felt guided here. Um, it is Leo's sun, moon, and rising. Again, those intuitively guided. And I know some of you are in love with the Leo, but your guides know that too. And they know you'll be here. They'll know you'll be here. So I just say have an open mind, have an open intuition, and trust your intuition. Um, but let it flow. That's what the readings do. They flow to us. The story, it like unfolds. And it's like my spirit guides know the way I love to read, and it's like it reveals your movie. So, maybe a little bit of the past. We got to know where we've been. Definitely a lot of the present, and then some of the future, the potential. So, let's go ahead and get into it. Real quick, I do want to let you know about a new reading that I added. Under personal readings, but this one it's short. I figured I got to do something for those, who don't have a lot of money to spend. I know I'm not cheap, but I do feel like I put my worth. You know what I mean? Like someone told me that a long time ago. Might have been my dad. Like when you're naming your price, you name your true worth. And I thought, well, I can't put cheap, right? um, but it's just a number that came to me, and like I just feel like everything has been divinely guided, to be honest, since I've entered into this spiritual world. Um, but anyways, real quick, um, I am now doing it's an audio recording, but I can also do a PDF, but it is your past, like we can do one or another. You can do like a past life reading. And what usually happens is like the most important lies that have something to do with this lifetime will come to the forefront. Um, and it's usually between like two to maybe four lies. But then each one we kind of break it down, and then we relate it to this lifetime. Plus, I always finish everything with a spirit message, or you can do what I call a spiritual 2026 forecast. So it's not so much like planetary, like I can't tell you what's trining and that. I don't know. But I do know spirit. So that's what I call it. So more soul type of energy. So they're only 22 bucks. And I added them so and they have a quick turnaround. Pretty quick. Within a couple days I try. So anyways, yeah. It's the newest reading to our family. I'm excited about it. I don't know. I just am. So anyways, Leo, let's get into your reading. So of course we're going to give Mother Mary the honor of opening up your reading. We're going to use the crystal vision to, if we feel we need it, but here's why. I mean, I call them clarifiers, but to me, it gives us more detail. It lets us to go deeper. Sometimes it's the bridge between A and B. You know what I mean? So, we call them clarifiers, but it's really to go deeper. And then for the main spread, we're going to use the Universal Tarot. And I did this for you last month, and it was just so great that I actually did almost everyone's this month the same way. So we're going to do the Celtic Cross, and yeah, let's just see what will be. I'm gonna bring the lid down, put the crystals away. I got all my beads on for you, by the way. Protection, love, clarity, um, everything. All right, so let's go ahead and start with Mother Mary. And as I'm shuffling, I'm just gonna kind of quiet my own mind. I'm gonna give him a cut. I don't know why I'm talking so softly all of a sudden. And then I get that saying, oh God, I just forgot. It's something, something with a big, like, walk a certain way with a big stick. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it just like left my mind. It like popped in and then it was gone. Walk softly, but with a big stick. Hmm. And the reason why I'm fixated on it is because I feel like that's a message for some of you. Like whether someone said that or whether that's like something you live by. Ah, beautiful. Miracle. By the way, let me give a moment to shout out the Leos in my life. Starting with my grandson, who is July 23rd. 23rd, he opens up the Leo season. And my mom was August 5th, Connie, actually Mary, but her middle name was Constance, so she went by Connie. Um, I don't think I've ever said her name before. My son, who many of you know has cross, Stephen, PH. I say that because, like, that's something that him and I both would say when we were spelling. I was like, PH, PH. August 12th. And my soul sister, Diane, who I've not seen for a while, and I get worried, August 16th. And Sam, who's not a Leo, but his birthday's August 23rd. So, he opens up the Virgo season, but he does carry a little bit of Leo. So, anyways, okay, sorry about that. I feel like I have to give a shout out. But miracle. I trust in God to know the perfect solution to this situation. It's like something falls it's weird I'm saying this because like I usually say the opposite, but I do feel like something falls in your lap and it's exactly what you needed at exactly the right time. Interesting. I feel for those of you who feel maybe someone's stuck at this moment, I feel like this is like the way out. Like something is changing. And, all of a sudden I'm thinking like December, a 3 month, which is, creativity, optimism, joy. Um, but it can be about self also, like getting lost in a craft and allowing yourself. I don't know. Like, I feel like this is many different things, but three was brought to my mind. All right. So let's put crystal right there. I'm going to take off, I call it my old lady shawl. And I guess maybe I am an old lady now. Um, but I've had it for it's interesting, like the things that I chose to bring here, um, like in clothes and that comfort, 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 comfort. But it was like It was like something that this period of time where I was selling stuff on eBay, and I was selling it for someone else, and I fell in love with it. It's just like a shaw, kind of, but it's got like armholes. I know some of you are like, Sandy, be quiet. I don't know why I'm telling you this. Um, but anyways, I love it. And it's traveled with me as I've traveled. Okay. So what we're going to do, again, this is the Celtic Cross, and there's going to be 10 different positions. I am going to put them face down. It's interesting how we got 3 right away. So number 1 is present. What's going on right now? Number 2 is what crosses that, or what helps that. It could be advice. It can be many different things. Like, it is called, if you go by the official spread, what crosses it. But again, we're just going to let it be whatever it wants to be. Number 3 is the subconscious. I call it the root because it's at the root of everything. All right. Number 4, the past. Right there. The past. Number 5 is the conscious mind. This is what you are aware of, or very shortly will be. It may be something in here, but we'll see. And then 6 is your near future. Put that right there. Kind of mirrors the past, doesn't kinda. Interesting, because that is like the bridge between the past and the near future. All right. And then we have you. So, anything maybe you need to be aware of, or, well, we'll just see what it is. Number 2 is external influences. So, other people, situations, things that may be outside of your control. Can be positive, can be negative. And then next is your hopes and your fears, or your hopes or your fears. Could also be something that could potentially get in the way of what is next, which is the potential final outcome. You know what I mean? Because you do have free will through all this, no matter what we get. All right. Okay. Let me just take a minute, grab a drink. No, I'm not a minute, a second. Grab a drink and just get ready. Okay. Present. Look at this. Wow. The world. Literally. This is literally what's opening up. This is literally what 2026 will be, a clean slate. The world. Wow. And this is the fool in the middle of that portal. She's naked. That means she's being her authentic self. Um, it may be a new beginning. That may be why we also got miracle, like something that kind of saves the day, but it does mean something's come to completion, but it also means something new is beginning and has a potential of like beginning it with a clean slate. Even if it's something that was old, but let's say comes back because that's real life, that's my love story, can still be a clean slate. But interesting. And oh my God, look at this. The magician is over it. Look at that, guys. Can I say that I feel like this is saying, it's funny because I feel like this is saying your whole 2026 is going to be off the charts if you allow, if you believe in yourself, if you're willing to, like, whatever's come to completion, to allow it, and then, be the fool. And with the magician right there, this is the fool's greatest mentor, by the way, who is right there with the fool. And he teaches the fool, like, everything you need to be successful, even if you don't think that you have it, all the tools are on the table. And they are, plus the infinity number. And the way it's laying, it is a number 8, August. As above, so below. A new beginning. Something is happening here. What it is ain't exactly clear. Wow. Okay. Well, it makes me want to go to the past, but first, I'm going to go in order. So, interesting. That's interesting because I am telling you, like, I make sure my cards are in the upright. Like, before I do reading, I shuffle and shuffle and shuffle. But I do that. I, like, bring them down one by one and make sure they're in the upright. So when I do it like this and they come in a reverse, it kind of blows my mind. So the Three of Pentacles, your creativity. I have a feeling it's been shut down. Like, I have a feeling for some of you, you haven't been able to be all that you can be, all that you know that you can be. Or at least maybe you dream that you can be that. But I know you can be that. Like, I see it, I feel it. And there may be others who may have told you that you couldn't be, whatever it may be. And the reason why I'm saying it like that is because I feel so many different things. Like, I feel like all these different things it could be. And that's for the people that are here. But someone may not have, again, believed in you. And maybe part of that lesson was you learning to believe in yourself. Because remember, like, every situation is either teaching us something or we're teaching them something. And it can be both ways. But I feel like for some of you, like, the lesson feels at this moment like I had to learn to believe in myself, even if no one else did. Excuse me. This is like powerful, powerful energy. And I do feel like your creativity was like kind of eh, but that was then. So let's look at the past now. Interesting. 4 of Cups. Someone could have broke your heart. And therefore, like this person, I like that she's sitting by a tree because I do feel like that's very healing. But she is kind of focusing more on those cups, like kind of lost in what was. Um, which, we all do that. We've all done that. But the 4 of Cups talks about this cup that's coming in. Right there. Here it comes. And she has to use her spiritual discernment, because chances are I don't want to repeat of these, but each one of these probably taught me something. And I bet one was like, I know what I don't want. Well, now that you know that, we know what you do want. And here comes this cup. So it is you using your spiritual discernment And I do feel like it is calling for you. I just feel like if there's been someone who has been has gone quiet, it's not that someone doesn't have a right to think about something. They do. Um, but let's look at let's look at it a different way. Like, how's it affecting you? Because I feel like for some of you, it kind of like it seemed to like everything kind of shut down. And you may have gone and done your daily business, but almost like for some, I feel like a robot. Like it's what I do every day. I did what I did every day. Come home, and then bam, I was right back into my thoughts. The meaning of this card is, well, it is about learning to use your spiritual discernment, but it does talk about discontentment or boredom within your emotional life. But I feel like your emotional life affected your creative life. And like the world is saying, number one, here comes this cup. But maybe it comes, maybe there's something. I feel like there's something else also, though, like opening up for you. Like I feel like the Three of Pentacles is going to turn around. All right, let's look at the conscious. Wow. Okay, so you've received that cup because now you're making the decision. Interesting. So it's interesting it's coming in the Seven of Cups also because it can talk about, you know, like emotionally, you may feel chaotic. Your emotions may be all over the place. Yet here's this offer, nonetheless. You know, does that mean it's divine timing, no matter what was going on? Because remember, the world is talking about completion. And the magician, I feel like, is about putting the focus on you, but in a way of knowing that, like I feel like all of a sudden I feel like you can live any kind of life you want to live. And if there is no one else in your life, then I feel like your creativity is your ticket. And I feel like love will just happen. Like, I don't feel like this person is expecting this cup, yet there it is. And literally, in your conscious mind, that means you're aware of it. You're making that decision. But it can happen on a day or a time period when, and it can be around the holidays, let's say, where things are like chaotic or whatever. Or you're feeling that inside. Interesting. Interesting. So let's go to your near future. The Queen of Wands. Well, the Queen of Action. This is the queen that does it and thinks about it later. And listen, you know, this is what I would say. Like, if that's the way I look at life, and I see nothing wrong with that. Matter of fact, I wish I was more like that. And I do have some of that in me. But, it's like, how do I say this? Like I'm going to do my thing. And, there's no excuses for that. And I feel like someone who deals with the consequences after the fact. So some of these cups could be because, the queen felt passionate about it, followed it, but it didn't work out. But it probably taught her something, right? Each one was probably a stepping stone. Or let's say this, like if I'm learning in this energy, then my soul's expanding, my vibration is rising. And therefore, that's why I feel like the world with the Fool in the middle and then the Magician over it is saying like, be bold and go after and take chances and let go of, let go of whatever causes you, causes like something happens and everything is affected. So it kind of shuts down your creativity. I want to remind you that the Fool is naked. And why that's important, it means that you are feeling more and more comfortable in your authentic skin. So you don't need outside validation. You may think you do, but you really don't. This is also someone who's very intuitive. I often feel like she sends out that black cat to kind of like go out there and tell me what's happening. Hmm. Okay, well, let's just keep going. Let's look at you. Wow. Hello, King of Cups. God, he was in someone else's reading in the exact same position. Can't remember whose. I'm sorry. I think it was a water sign, though, but I could be wrong. Anyway, what's he doing under you? King of Cups can be Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces. Can be, but doesn't have to be. It's interesting because I feel like this is taking us towards higher and higher vibrational energy. So I feel like this king must also be of that. Because here you are making that emotional decision, deciding whether you're taking this cup, right? But if you're allowing yourself the freedom of the world and the magician, and even the queen, geez, I just messed everything up. Um, Interesting, I can't get them back. That's the Virgo in me. Anyway, this is someone who really does love love, though. And part of their journey may be like, I can't love them all. But I don't think they want to. Again, maybe in their young years, but I feel like ultimately this is someone who would want a relationship, who would want to be able to give their heart freely, and probably not judged. I don't know why I just said that. Like, not judged. Why did I say that? He's got, I just noticed like 1 foot in, like 1 foot. This could certainly represent someone who may be slow to show their emotions, right? Like, all we can see is that 1 foot, but we can see it. So I only show you what I feel comfortable showing you. Interesting. Are they authentic? Maybe that's what the unveiling is going to tell us. I already know they are, though. I already know that. Okay, let's look at external. Look at this. Perfect. This is beautiful. This is that clearing of the emotional house. This is letting go. Doesn't mean I understand every cup, but I do know one thing. I'm not letting these cups get in the way of my future. Because this person is heading towards the Nine of Cups, inner fulfillment, but also fulfillment of wishes. Does this king enter first? Maybe, because the Seven of Cups is up there. So you are making a decision, but I feel like this is your decision. You're letting go. 8, you're allowing this new beginning. I feel like that's great news. All right, let's look at your hopes and fears. Wow, 4 of Swords, nice. Nothing to fear here. Maybe your hope is for healing. Well, I feel like, this makes me feel like just this energy. Whatever I feel like I'm missing here, when this enters, especially, I guess, I shouldn't say especially because I feel like I have to be. I have to be willing to be the fool. Because if I'm not willing to take a chance, let's say in the Seven of Cups, I say no, which is your prerogative, and some of you may. I feel like you're being called back to your authentic self, the risk taker. And maybe it's telling you, just put your foot in the water. Just put your foot in the water. And let's look at the outcome. Look at this. Can we finish the year of the Hermit? And you, my friend, have become wiser because of it. Wow. Look at that. And the beacon of the Hermit is illuminating the whole reading, your spirituality. I want to say that for some of you, I feel like you are interesting. I just noticed 2 4s mirroring each other. This 4, healing, mirroring this 4, the 4 of Cups, discontentment, healing of it. But anyways, what I was going to say is I already know many of you are not the same person you were when you came into 2025. You're just not. You've done the work of the Hermit. You've cleaned that slate. And you're literally saying to the universe when you do that, I am open. And look what Mother Mary sends out, miracles. I am open. You don't even have to say what to. I'm just open. I'm open to my blessings. I'm open to your blessings. I have learned. And I feel like you should claim that. I have learned. And, think of the hermit, the wise old soul. It's almost like some of you, it's interesting because it feels like a life reading. Because I feel like some of you are completing a soul's mission, and it wasn't easy at all. But you completed it, or you are completing it. And I feel like you are completing it by the end of 2025, by the end of December. So, no pressure. No pressure. Wow. I'm like in love with your reading. All right, let's see what's on the bottom of the deck. Page of Cups. Exactly what I felt. Learning to love that inner child. Those who said we couldn't, we wouldn't, we weren't good enough. Oh well. So be it. Some of you may be like, watch me now. Something's going to change. Something's going to give you an opportunity for change. And I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to say it's simple, but it feels bold. And it feels like you're healing your very soul. And I feel like many of you are doing exactly what your soul came here to do. And no wonder you have what feels like great love now entering. Again, we'll see who it is. But I don't want to leave you out of the equation. That Three of Pentacles in reverse? I feel like it turns around. You're back to your creative self. You're back to you. All right, I got to bring the crystal vision in. Give him a shuffle. Oh, hello, Ten of Cups. And let's give him a cut. So I just saw the Ten of Cups. We'll see if it comes out. Maybe it's like a potential. And you hear me say potential a lot. And that's because some people may not move out of the Four of Cups. Or they'll move out whenever they feel like it. That's not going to stop 2026 from opening. It's going to open. And it is the year of the magician. How interesting you have 2025 represented and 2026. All right. We are going to move the magician to the side for a moment. And I'm really looking at both because I feel like they're working together. So, anything else that we can know about that? More than happy to hear. Oh my God. Leo. Look at this. I got goosebumps. I don't know if you can see them. I literally have goosebumps. It's Two of Cups. Soulmate. I feel like you deserve it. Look at that. Look how young they are. It's reminding me of the movie The Blue Lagoon. And I know many probably have never heard of it, but it's an old romantic movie with Brooke Shields and someone else. And I had such a crush on the guy. And I was young. Anyway, it reminds me of that. Ooh, 10 swords. Okay. I know what that means right away. Look at this. The Empress. That's you. Now that is you. Creative. And if you notice, an apple is about to hit her in the head. And I feel like that's an epiphany, an idea, maybe a direction. But it's also the recognition of who you are and what you've been through and what you've really overcome. It tells you, don't allow this energy that clearly has happened. Don't allow it to take up energy in what can be. Because honestly, a lot of this you'll never think about again. Right now, it holds that weight for some of you, but very quickly, those swords, they fall out. And talk about a repeat pattern. I do not think it's the soulmates. I feel the soulmates have yet to come in. And the Empress mirroring the soulmates, the loving, nurturing Empress, powerful, wise, the wisdom of the hermit. She carries it. You carry it. It's showing it. Right? And look at the magician right there. The magic of the magician and the miracles of God. Like, that's what I want to trust in. Ten of Swords, I gotta let it go. Right? It's what was. It can be again. I feel like a Ten of Swords continues until I no longer accept it. Because I do feel like I've come to submission in that energy. I've become comfortable in the uncomfortableness. I expect a dagger, and a dagger comes. It's the opposite of the Empress's energy. And that may seem impossible to reach, but it's like the flip side of the coin. That's how quickly you can change. It's not way down the road. It's the flip side of the coin. I believe I can. It reminds me of that kid's book. I know I can. I know I can. I think that's what they say. I know I can. I know I can. I think I can. I'm pretty sure I know I can. Anyway, I was gonna put the Ten Sword back here. Interesting. That makes sense because it has no weight in the present going forward unless I give it weight. It's like the devil's on one shoulder, angels on another shoulder. Just get rid of the devil's shoulder. Get rid of it. Flick it off your shoulder. What's my life going to look like? Which one are you going to feed? Which one are you going to feed? 10 swords, dark, shadow. She's laying on ice, cold. There's nothing left. Nothing left. Over here, it's like a breath of fresh air. That's what it feels like. Like, like all of a sudden I'm in a meadow of flowers. And I can breathe. And that's all I can see is flowers for as far as my eye will take me. Flowers everywhere. And I'm in the middle. Wow. Okay. I'm not going to put them away. I can't put them away. I don't want to look at the past anymore. I feel like it's clear. And honestly, I feel like it's going to be up to each individual. You know what I mean? Like my job isn't to tell you what to do. I know that. My job is to show you, at least this is what I feel, is to show you options. Like, okay, well, if I go this way, the chances of this coming true seem to be much greater. And, I want to remind you that many times you can look in your own history, and that's really what the Hermit is about, right? The 9-year cycle. Our lives run in 9-year cycles. So you can look back in the last 9 years, say to yourself, look how much I have grown. Even if you haven't gotten out of a situation, I bet you've still grown spiritually. I bet you're growing within, and it's going to show. Grab a drink real quick. Okay. It's funny, all of a sudden I just thought Sam and we're going to do a podcast. And I put out a questionnaire. Oh, I didn't put out a questionnaire. I put out a community post saying once we got 10 questions, we're going to go ahead and start the podcast. And I have a feeling it may be more than one podcast. But anyways, I don't know what's bringing that up right now. Some of you may, I don't know. Sam reached out to me at a time. It was just divine timing, that I know. And that may be why I'm bringing it up right now. Okay. Anyway. Well, let's come down to, well, I don't even feel like we need to look at the three pentacles. Okay. I'll take a card or two over it. Interesting. 7 of Cups. Page of Wands. There's your inner child. And the Knight of Swords. Interesting. Some of you may be receiving communication. Yeah, it's interesting we have the 7 of Cups again, right? In the conscious mind, but also in the subconscious mind. That tells me something. That's why we saw the soulmates. It's almost like a telepathic connection. Again, it's not who put the swords in your back. I know that. I'm not saying that they're perfect. They're not. But neither are we. But they are, they're in this energy, not this energy. So, definitely is telling me that, I feel for some of you, it's been a lack of communication from someone that's causing you this pain. And, you have to make this decision on your own. But I do want to say, depending how long it's been, I'm really noticing the 4. Maybe it's 4 months. Maybe it's 4 weeks. Maybe it's 4 days. Wow. And then the 4. Like I give someone that much time. Because really, no answer is an answer. Because I feel like what your guides are saying is, are you getting what you deserve? And do you know what you deserve? Because you deserve it all. But do you know that? If you don't, I'm here to tell you that. I'm here to tell you that. And that's not me. That's your spirit guides. That's your spiritual team. They're like, we know your soul. We've known your soul for eternity. We know you. They knew you were going to go through the 10 of Swords. And they may have given red flags. Or it could be a karmic lesson. You know what I mean? And again, sometimes it can be much more simpler than we think. Like, it can be like, okay, I got to find my self-worth again. I'm saying that's simple. But again, I am getting, it's the other side of the coin, Sandy. She's got to believe in myself. Got to put one foot in front of the other. Just one foot in front of the other. It's like the fire within you, it's coming back. Over here, it's like the fire was extinguished. Here, I feel like the fire within Leo, it's coming back. It's coming back, baby. Someone may be feeling that, knowing that, because there's some type of communication coming in. So let's take that and let's go up to the Seven of Cups. And this is where, because here it's subconscious. So, it may be what I think about, I bring about. That may be why I felt like for some of you, even though, you may be, wow, oh my gosh, you may be in a state of sadness, but I still feel like there's been spiritual growth. And maybe that's what you needed. And I don't mean the sadness part, but like that stillness. Look at this. Knight of Cups. I do not try to make these love readings. But love just wants to come out. What am I going to do? Tell it no? This is unexpected, but boy, do I feel like your soul kind of knows it. Unexpected cup of fulfillment. Here's that cup. And the advice before it. Don't leave that part out. And you know why? It makes love lovelier for you. I feel like we have someone who feels to me like they're ready. They themselves are ready to live a committed life. They just feel that way. And you are finding emotional clarity and you're healing the mind. So those thoughts, those limited thoughts are being healed. And it's all coming from your spirituality. So you can see how your vibration is lifting. Wow. And then in comes the Knight of Cups. So we don't have to worry about that vibration. Especially if you feel like you're the Empress. Now, the Knight of Cups, it doesn't have to be love. It is a cup of fulfillment, though. And it may be more than one thing. I just had to put miracle out there. I want to follow that knight a little bit. Just a little. Wow. It's a lot of cards. I'm going to take them, but I'm going to go kind of quick. Interesting. The Eight of Wands, what I think about, I bring about. And another kind of chaotic energy. It's funny because you're not the first reading where I felt that there was going to be, let's just say, something to celebrate if I so chose. But it may happen on a day where your mind is just here and there, going 100 million places, and then boom. And I bet it just slows it all down. I bet it's like slow motion, even though it's the Eight of Wands, fast moving energy, passion. It's what do they call? I don't think it's a pride of horses, but like they're moving as one and they're coming fast. Interesting. Seven of Swords. Be careful what I think about. The Ace of Cups. Okay, we know it's love. Look at that, but not just love. The Ace of Pentacles. And then the Hangman. Okay, that makes sense because now the Hangman is under the Seven of Swords. Some swords I'm going to put back in the past because this is not about that. But it may say, how do I better guarantee myself that I'll end up in the same type of energy? Well, number one is your own energy. You know what I mean? Like your own energy, and the hangman kind of like puts a pause in the action, but it's coming over the seven swords. So I feel like it's going to be very clear to you what's light and what's not, both in your money and in love. I feel like you're manifesting some dreams. And I do just want to say, for those who are still back here, where I said I expect a dagger to happen, a dagger happens. Don't say that. Don't say that. Because I do feel the power of what I think about, I bring about. And I'm not saying it's your fault at all. Ace of Pentacles talks about something that's coming into your physical world, tangible. Ace of Cups, unconditional love. You know, ending with the Hermit, it's probably not your first lifetimes together. You are soulmates, so you do know each other. I'm glad I followed that night. Okay, well, I'm not surprised. So I feel like it's love and money, like love and an opportunity. Definitely a love of what you do. Again, it makes me feel like the Three of Pentacles reversed. All right, so the Devil. Number one, card of Capricorn. But the Devil speaks of temptations, things that I was tempted to, and it's usually of the shadow. But listen, you know what I feel in that energy? Like we have to know our shadow self. Give it a name. Sandy number two. You know what I mean? Because there's a time that we need it, but then there's a time we don't. So it's balance. I feel like for some of you though, it's just someone's energy. Because the devil it's interesting. I said about the devil being on one shoulder. But the devil is great at casting illusions. For some of you, that illusion is that you are not worthy. Wow. Look who it's coming from. You know, and it's interesting. She's holding apple in her hand. I feel like, you might be tempted again. I'm not going to leave that off the table. I hope not. But let's just say this. If you're in the Empress's energy, you'll know it. You'll see it. You'll feel it. You'll say no way to it. All right. Who's this King of Cups down here? And what is he doing in your position? He's two of Pentacles. He's asking you a question. Will you or won't you? He's holding that cup that we literally just saw. I feel like the Two of Pentacles is about using your logical mind. Okay, let's go right above it. Because I feel like it's going to give us our answer. Though the Eight of Cups is kind of giving us the answer too. Well, it's giving the answer to you, your personal freedom, emotional freedom, mental freedom. And, I just I feel like some of you, I feel like that's what your soul came here for. And I know not everyone likes to hear that, but listen, I'd rather hear the truth. All right. Well, the Ace of Swords. Look at the red roses around that ace. By the way, 3 aces. Wow, that's truth. First and foremost, it's also my yes card. Just saying. It certainly talks about communication, but it tells you there's truthful communication. It may say, just lend someone your ear. You don't have to jump into anything. Because I feel like when you find yourself, you're back to your creative self, which means you probably are going to have a lot of fire in the iron, a lot of irons in the fire. And this, I feel like, is unexpected and is coming, a day or a 7. Could be Sunday. Seven's very spiritual. But it could be like a week where it just feels, oh, chaotic. King of Cups, interesting, coming over your fears and wishes. So some of you wish for this king. And maybe your wish is for this type of king. Someone who can express their emotions easily. Someone who tells you how they feel. They don't hide from love. Now, if he was in reverse, then I'd say the opposite. And remember, we're shuffling, so they have every chance to come out reverse if they want. There's the hermit again. How do I love that? And they're looking at each other and they're illuminating each other and they're balancing each other. Holy cow. They're balancing each other. Their empathy, their compassion, what was robbed from them is back. You want to talk about soulmates? Spiritual soulmates. That is what I'm feeling. All soulmates are spiritual, but there's something about the two of you. There could be 2 life path 9s, but I don't want you just thinking that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want you to think, like, if they don't have a life path 9, it can't be them. I can tell you what it's saying is you both are living through your spirituality. That means you're both compassionate and empathetic. You're both wise. And I'm not talking book smarts, but I'm not leaving that out. But this is really about the lessons I have learned along the way, the journey, and what it has taught me. And then the letting go and letting it begin, right? Putting that foot in the water. Your reading is so clear. Some of you, you're getting exactly what it is that your soul wants. And I feel like it's the human part of us is kind of like, oh. And maybe, like, I feel like, let's put the soul in the seat of the car, in the front seat of the car. Let's let the soul drive the car. Did you ever hear that song, Jesus Take the Wheel? Well, here, let your soul take the wheel because, hello. When it says miracles, oh, by the way, whoops, there is our soulmates and our empress. I couldn't put it away. I couldn't put it away. And the empress is in no rush. Think about it. She's the mother figure. She gives birth, right? She's patient. Like, I let this baby stay within me for 9 months. Patient. And because I feel like this is divinely aligned, that means that both of these soulmates, well, no wonder we're seeing the two hermits. It's like you're just spiritually aligned. Like you're spiritually ready. And I think I'm going to leave it there because I don't want to, this is not about talking anybody into anything. This is just showing you, like, this is the potential. And, some of us are going to say, well, not for me. Well, it will never be until we decide, like, the full, let's just put it this way. If you've gone a long time without hearing from someone, think about that. That may be your answer. Doesn't make you unlovable. It makes them unable to love. It's not your job to fix them, right? It's your job to get on and to love and to experience, right? And to grow, right? To allow that creative house to open back up, especially seeing the Empress again, the most creative energy. So, I feel like you have so much working for you and a little bit against you. But I feel like what's against you, you have the power over. And here I am still talking. Let's just finish it with this. Mother Mary brought out a miracle. So, the perfect solution to whatever the problem is. And for some of you, I'm telling you, like, what did I say in the beginning? And I never say it, like, expect something to kind of land in your lap. I feel like we create our own miracles, but here, and this may be because you're allowing the healing to take place. But anyway, so expect a miracle. And that's the thing, expect it. Sometimes what you're seeking is also seeking you. Sometimes someone is seeking you, but you're yet to seek them. That's where things are still like, okay, I don't know why I'm still talking. I just loved your reading. I thank you. I'm sorry it's late. Um, I will see you next time at our table. Bye bye.